Hi, my name is Marvin Jacobs. I'm here to talk about extracurricular activities and their importance, and why they're valued in colleges, how you can use them to bolster your applications, why they're good for you personally, and all this other stuff. To start with, I want to talk about my personal experiences and extracurricular activities and how they were able to affect my own college. So, as it says on the screen, I was a senior forum leader, which is basically as a senior in high school, because I went to boarding school, it's a little bit different. The senior in high school, I taught the freshmen coming in. It's like this went on for the entire year. Like, different questions they had about like how school life was or anything else, if they were okay, just to check up on them, to find or anything like that. Also, I had prefect of dorm, so I went to boarding school, so we had dormitories. I was the prefect, which means I looked over the entire dorm. I set schedules for when events were planned. Events were planned. Anybody had questions or like issues, students would come to me and talk to me. I kind of saw myself as like a big brother figure almost, where students would just come to my room, sit down for, and talk to me if they had issues. I was BSU co-president. I started the club as well, which is Black Student Union. So like I had that going for me. Like I said, I set up events with that. I made sure like reached out and did all this other stuff. I did varsity football and lacrosse and like different other like sports, like not varsity, but like I was part of that. I won like, for at least in my own county, I won awards for like, football because of how well I did. I was an orientation leader, which ties into senior form, whereas like the first few days of school is and you'll see it if you go to college too, where there's like a big, massive amount of information that's given to you. I did that. In college, I was a house manager and a steward, so I used on fraternity, which is I was part house manager as part of the executive board, so like any major decisions I was a part of. Steward managed the kitchen, like make sure like a snow day where people can cook couldn't come in. I was the person who was cooking, like making sure that all that was okay. Because as house manager is part of the board, took care of the house. If I had issues with rooming or anything like that, they would come to me, and I was the one to say no. That I was also again an orientation leader, and collusions kind of like the same thing. Because I'm a political science major, I did political science club. I cook an internship, which is we're going to send me overseas work study. So as you can see, I do various amounts of activities both in high school and in college, which is something colleges like to see. Here's some pictures. Like in my fraternity, we do a lot of community service, or fundraising, and all that stuff for the community. This was like a dancing thing, so it's kind of orientation was on the side, like being compared to meet the students and everything. So as you can see, it's like very massive events all the time. People enjoy it. People enjoy it, but it's also a good way to give back to the community. So why are they valued? American colleges, more than ever, value extracurricular activities. It's because everybody's competitive grade-wise. Everybody's striving for the best schools, and you have to find what separates you from other candidates, or in what separates you from other candidates, other students, or people who are doing similar things to you, right? So being able to prove that you are as a person, or I guess it's more valuable than someone else, is very useful in the college application process. It also helps you on your application, or like when I say on your application or resume, because well, a lot of times people like don't have anything to put down. Like you may have your grades, you may have like, oh, I was the top percentage of my class, top like everything in my class. But if you're not having anything out of that, what does that show you? What does that show as a student? What are you doing? If your grades aren't the highest, like I didn't have coming out of high school, I didn't have the top grades, but because I was like I showed, part of so many different events on campus, programs on campus, I was part of different leadership organizations. I was able to make up for some of my grades and some of the weaknesses I had. In America, it's a little bit different, I'm guessing, than for a lot of you. There's a lot of after-school programs, so like there's a lot of options, and seeing what was negative, you don't take advantage of that. So like a lot of students constantly are doing different things, like different activities, whether it's with the school or outside of the school. People are constantly being active within their community. And like it may not seem like a big deal, but like I care about all this other stuff. But like I said, everybody's competitive grade wise. If everybody's like applying to Harvard and everybody applying has a 4.0, then what's to make you seem like a different from any other student, right? Like what can you say about yourself that would be I'm better than them, even though they have better grades or anything like that? Like what do you contribute to the community? So the other thing I'd like to talk about is what do you want to show when you do extracurricular activities? So I put goals, passion, and leadership. Schools like to see you see you be driven to do something, right? Schools like to see you actively going out, taking initiative, joining clubs that interest you, joining or organizations that can benefit you in some sort of way, or something that you would like to do. Especially if you're tied to your major. If you're like a chemist and you like join the chemistry club, right? That looks very good because it shows that you're have an idea or a goal in mind, a plan for your future, and you're willing to go out and achieve it, right? Like anybody can say, "Oh, when I want to go to college, I want to be like a business major," but like, what does that really mean? And schools don't want to maybe like take that chance that you'll like keep switching out, especially when they're putting money into you for your like for like your tuition, all this stuff, and they can't guarantee it. It kind of shows if you're doing something early that you're gonna be more. That can be taken many ways, right? Like it can be taken as, oh, he's going to join our school, and we know he's going to be committed to doing well in our program because we can see he has a lifelong interest in this. That's very important. Yeah, like what type of students they want to bring into their schools and all this other stuff. It's like I said, it's better to like when you since like sorry, 1 second. Becoming an expert in what you're doing is also important, and so like along with being tied to like if you're a chemist, join the chemistry club, but also being like everything you're doing around that too, I guess, kind of zooms in on that. Like you can be in the chemistry club and you can be a chemist, but if you're also doing like theater and then you're also doing like football, it shows kind of, and you're not like maybe a leadership role in any of these, it shows you're kind of unorganized maybe or unsure of what you want to do in the future. So way you're seen as a student is more just you're kind of doing everywhere. You're not sure where you want to go. You don't have any goals, like maybe passionate about all these things, centered on what you want to do. It's kind of like when you apply to a job right, in the future. If you kind of just saying like you're bouncing around in college and doing majors, a lot of random stuff, people kind of look at you weird. It's the same type of mentality going into college and when you're applying and all this other stuff. Leadership roles are very important. As you saw, I had a lot of leadership roles. Part of the reason to my school in the first place. Leadership roles and extracurriculars because it shows that you're going above and beyond, right? Like you can be part of a chemistry club, but if you're just there and just showing up, how can a college really understand that you're putting effort into what you want to do? How can a college really understand that, like, oh, he's truly interested in what he's doing? Like, if you're in like that, and that can come in many ways. Like, if you're like a captain in your football team, right? Like, it looks good. If you had maybe wrote papers for like a class competition and you came out on top, it shows you're taking leadership, taking initiative, you're putting yourself out there, like you're doing one of the best. I mean, it obviously shows you have good qualities and that somebody sees something in you, right? And that's honestly something a lot of these colleges want to see. You can't just be part of something, but to show that you're like excelling and leading in something looks way better than anything on most colleges' applications and just being part of it. Because, like I said, it's like a follower versus leader. Who has more value? Basically, what I'm trying to say here. Impact on the community. So this is a big extracurriculars, like when you're applying colleges on an exam or not exam, on like the Common App asks, what can you give to the college? The extracurricular activities is how you show this. Like colleges like seeing that students have done volunteering, community service, have done activities in the club, back to the community, all this other stuff. Because it shows that it translates to if they're willing to do this in their high school, once they get to college, they'll have the same sort of mindset, hopefully, that they will contribute to the college and make the college better. It's that type of deal where people are constantly like they expect to get like college is a business, right? They expect to get something out by putting like money into you, right? So seeing that they can gain something, it sounds bad. It sounds like I guess like I don't know the word for it. It sounds like monopolistic, I guess, or something like that. But it's honestly like what colleges like to see. Like they like to see you giving back to the community. Like I said, this means them in many various ways, right? Like if you're part of the chemistry club, maybe like if you guys had a fundraiser for your club and also gave money to the local charity, but also like maybe help your club out at the same time with funds and everything. Or like if you're part of like your student council and you guys were able to like organize volunteering events off campus and all this other stuff, right? It doesn't necessarily even have to be volunteering. Show that you're giving back to your school. Like in my positions, right? I didn't have a lot of necessarily like volunteering or community service, but because I was like part of my school a lot, I was able to give back to my local community within my school. Because I was in a boarding school and I was a head prefect, I could give back to students. Like students came from counseling, we had like issues like learning what to study, learning how to study. I mean, or giving like what should they do in like this social sense, because like they're high schoolers, so like that's a lot of the issues they have. Or even as like senior form, like if people had any random questions about like, oh, how do I communicate this teacher, I'd be like, oh, yeah, let me do. So basically, like it shows I was a leader in the field I was good at, and in my community, and I was being helpful to everybody around me. It wasn't just for like my own personal gain. So being able to show that and broadcast yourself to that, very good for like college applications. Like I said, practical sense, anything you do can be used. Anything you do that basically around you can be used in a good way. Like can be used on your application, right? So like you can show that you're doing all this stuff, you're being your goals, you have goals, passionate about what you're doing, you are sticking to it, and you have a good impact on your community, then all these can go on your application and just make you seem like a better student. Like community service, I put this as just its own slide because honestly, in America, it's very big. Like I know some places have like forced community service or whatever, but like America, like not everybody has to. Some schools, like they say they have a minimum requirement for high school, they have a minimum requirement, but honestly, that's not enough. Showing that you can go beyond and beyond, above and beyond to help the community around you is very look good, like looked well upon, right? So like as you can see on the screen, my fraternity, we do a lot of events on our school campus. Just I talk about the translating from how I did in high school, how I'm doing in college, so I helped set up these events, right? You can see for Halloween in America, we set up some pumpkins outside and had like all the supplies, brought all like like tables and all this other stuff for the local community, so kids could have a place to come and like set up their own pumpkins and all this stuff for Halloween. We have events where we go to the local community and pick up garbage. Nobody asked for us to do this. Just we take it out of our own initiative, be leaders on the school campus, and like hopefully inspire other people to do this. We have Netflix and our like our fraternity is known for being part of Netflix and Consent, which is to help like students understand different rape and sexual assault statistics, and to inform people in like the community around us. We've helped like if there's a speaker coming, we're always there to like help set up for like anything or anything like that. So like showing we're a valuable part of the community, what we can give and all this other stuff is very important. Like even like the school almost like it's not like the school almost expects you to do it but you also when you go in you're expected to know that you're going to be doing it, and it's a weird way to say that, but like it's almost like if you don't do it, you're looked negatively upon almost in a sense. So like, but when you do it, like first of all, there's this personal sense of gratification, right? Like when we were helping these kids and all these everything is like we felt better about it ourselves because we're giving back to local. Like I don't know, actually, it's weird. I guess it just makes me happy, like seeing I can, but like that's what like colleges like to see. Sorry for a little diatribe. Another thing, social and networking opportunities. A lot of times it can be hard to maybe to contact a teacher or anything like that. But when you're making like when you need like a recommendation or you need to find somebody to talk to, extracurricular activities is the way to go through that, right? Like because it's important to make connections. Like if I'm on a football team, I can probably meet the full football team. Somebody knows somebody, and everybody can be helpful. And like you meet a lot of different teachers during like maybe like an after school club, especially if it's an academic club, there's usually a teacher involved in that. So being able to meet people and getting to know them, like it really helps you, especially when it comes to getting a recommendation, right? College recruiters can tell when the recommendation is very generic, like the teacher doesn't really know the student, is just writing something out because the teacher, it's like obvious, like the teacher doesn't know you, so they'll maybe like maybe not a standing ovation, but like a generic like report or recommendation for you. If you develop connections outside of the classroom and able to make connections with people, you can avoid this. Like you can get somebody who really cares about you to write about you, show like a valid and not long, but a valid and descriptive explanation of who they think you are, how strong of a worker they think you are, and all this other stuff, which really helps on the applications because that's what colleges like to see. They like to know that you're a person, and having someone be able to validate that you are a person who works hard is very good. College becomes even more important, right? Like as a student, you're gonna need to reach out to do different things. Like I'm on the page, it says the example. People in my fraternity who struggle to find jobs. One kid I know, his name is JP. He's from Brazil, I believe, right? He needed a job to like so he could like help his family back home. He was struggling because his grades weren't the best and everything like that. Because we were in a fraternity, we had alumni, I was able to get him a job as a business analyst. Things like that's just like a small example. Taking advantage of everybody around you, like reaching out for people like, hey, can you help me here or there? In college, it becomes even more prevalent. A lot of people, even outside of fraternities, or anything like that, that's how my school works. Fraternities are big, but even outside of fraternities, all this other stuff, reaching out to different, like in your academic club, maybe if you need an internship for the summer, um, reaching out to your advisor who's like part of your like one of your clubs is gonna be helpful. It's just how the system works, where you're expected almost, or not expected, but the best way for you to succeed is to reach out outside of your comfort zone or outside of the classroom to others around you to like, and maybe like help each other out, I guess is the way to say it. Like, and this is just an example, like on my school website, right? Like on the bottom right, this is what they call the brown and white. It's a school run journal newspaper, right? So like, and it's tough for a class. So like you get 1 credit if you're just starting out, but as you go up in the ranks, it's worth more credit for like whatever. It can be like your minor or major, whatever, or if you're just doing it for fun. But there's teachers involved in that, right? So like one of my friends, her name is Lucy. She became the editorial one of the main editors for the newspaper. Because of her connections through this program, she can talk to her teacher about like finding her job in like a local newspaper or stuff like that. So like extracurricular, she loves what she's doing. She's passionate about journalism, and she's making connections that are able to get her job after we graduate. The marching, they call it the Marching 97. It's the marching band for our school. That's like a program where literally they joined in and they're like friends for life, which is weird because but everybody's doing their own separate thing. But like because of like how close the connections are you're making and like how often you're meeting each other, even if you're not the same major, even if you're not necessarily ever in the same classes, you're reaching out and be able to put stuff like and able to show that you're doing like good as a student. You're constantly doing other stuff like part of a community that's constantly giving back to others. As you can see, like there's different type of clubs. Whenever you go to colleges, there's always going to be clubs, and even high school in America, like there's always clubs around, or you can create your own, which shows even more initiative, shows you're a student. But like you're joining something that's very specific to you or what you want to do in life, and people can see that. People recognize you for like your achievements and everything. So like, don't be afraid to say that you're doing this, you're part of this club, broadcasting yourself. And like I said, campus involvement, everybody's involved in campus. You can read here, has more than 150 student clubs. So like, there's variety for everybody usually. Like, if you can't find something you like, then make it, honestly. Personal benefits as a student. Allows you to explore what your interests are. Like in high school, right? Like, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Like I went to college as an undecided business major, but because I was like able to do all these leadership roles, I was like, I kind of enjoy this. Kind of like enjoy how like moving people around and all this stuff. But like, and then eventually I took a political science class. I was like, I like this. I like what I'm doing. I like how like the idea of what's behind this and how this affects others and all this stuff. I'm gonna stick to this. So even though I wasn't, it's a hard balance. I understand. Even though I wasn't fully like doing specifically like what I would do in politics at the time. Doing leadership roles and trying out these other stuff and various other things allow me to identify what traits I like and what major I like and what traits I like in my major to push myself to what I eventually enjoy doing. But and it works differently for everybody, but like things like that where you're trying out different things, at least initially at the beginning, figuring out what you like, what you don't like is a good way to figure out what you want to do in the future. Allows you to de-stress from school. Like if I play sports after school, then I have more fun, sort of stuff. It gives me time to relax. And I believe there's a study that shows if you do extracurricular activities, your grades become better because you're not focused or like you're not so stressed as a person on everything else. Various life skills that you can't. Various life skills that also can't be learned in school can be learned elsewhere. If you're like a mechanic, right, or in high school, like your dad fixes cars, learning like how to fix cars from your dad, like after school and like fixing cars for his business or whatever. This is a generic example, right? But doing stuff that outside the classroom that you may not have usually taken or seen before. It's a good way to become a better person, as a regular person living life, learn skills that you can't learn in the classroom because you can only learn so much in front of a textbook. But like doing other stuff outside, like I did my leadership stuff outside the classroom. I learned how to manage people, like what people do and all this other stuff, and just how I learned to how to, you get my point, like how to do stuff outside of the classroom. Time management, especially when you get into college. Like a lot of people get into college, they want to jump into everything, do everything, but they don't know how to manage their time. I know one girl, right? She was the vice president of one of her dance team, the president of another one of her dance team. She took like 6 classes, and she was also her work study, which is how I know her. She couldn't manage that all. She couldn't possibly manage that all. But when she was going into college, she had no idea how to manage that as a person because she hadn't done anything outside of like high school. But like, and she had the grades, so like it was a different type of deal. But she had no idea what she's doing. So when she got to college, her grades slipped because she couldn't manage she couldn't juggle all those events. So eventually she dropped one of her her dancing classes. She had to like leave, like drop one of her classes to make sure she like her grades were bad and all that sort of stuff. So doing extracurricular activities, especially younger, teaches you how to manage all that because you can't jump into the fire and expect not to get burned, I guess is the way to say it. Like you have to be like or just like teach yourself different things, like learn how to do things yourself, like what's the best method for you. And that's how I do after school events, that's how you learn how to do it. Like I said, doing something you enjoy allows you to determine your major. Like that's how it was for me. And personal mental health, right? Like I said, first of all, de-stressing and all this other stuff. But like personal, if you're doing yoga, or like gym or whatever other stuff, or like anything like that, becoming healthier as a person, like all this other stuff, you're meeting new people, like you're trying different things. It's better for you as a person as a whole. Important points. I stress multiple times. Extracurricular activity are both for you and in school, right? It's used to stick out and see things. So like by pushing yourself out there, by broadcasting what you do, what you're great at, why you're a good leader, and all this other stuff, you become more important in schools, and it allows you to seem better compared to anybody else. And making yourself unique is what's important. Grades and test scores still matter. Still, don't get it twisted. Like, sure, like my grades weren't the greatest, but like it wasn't like I was terrible. I was just like only slightly below. It just brought it up. Grades and test scores still matter. So like, still want to put all your effort into that. If you're getting slipping behind because you have too much stuff, like I said, and don't be afraid to take something off so you can focus on your grade. It's all about balance. But grades and test scores are always going to be the most important part of the application process. Learn how to present yourself, whether you be in an interview, application, or a resume. You have to learn how to present your strengths, right? So that's all extracurriculars is all about. Like you're developing your strengths, and you want to show it to the colleges that you have these strengths, right? So, and I know it's harder said than done, but like maybe if you would like take the time to sit down, like what am I good at? What can I give to the school that the school doesn't already have? What do I show that makes me stand out from the person sitting next to me? Learning how to present yourself, and like I said, in an interview, an application for a job, application for a job or a resume for a job, whatever, right? Anything of those sorts, like learning how to present yourself is going to be a major skill that you need to learn. Be honest with yourself, honestly. Like if you don't have anything to show, like, and it sounds bad, but if you don't have anything to show for yourself, like you haven't done too much, don't fool yourself. Schools are going to know when you're exaggerating, right? Or like when you're like kind of BSing, like, oh, you didn't really do this. Like it feels fake. Like even if you write it down, it feels fake. People notice, right? If you can't write an essay about what you're doing and how like you're involved, then are you really involved? Like, or were you just around? Like, be honest. Like, and I've seen a lot of people, I say this because I've seen a lot of people like say like, oh, I was part of this club, but all they did was show up for like a day and never came back. Try to put it on their resume and they can't like explain it to them. So like if explain their resume if they have an interview. So like people can tell when you're lying to yourself, and like they look negatively upon this. Academics, community, and also social personality. And I wrote those down because those seem to be the main goals I want to portray to you guys. People love when you do academic clubs because it shows that you're dedicated to a certain type of major or like certain type of goal you want to pursue. People love when you give back to your community or in some way or form. Like I said, it can be by volunteering, or it can be by like like giving back to my school and like doing stuff for my school, like for the community around me, maybe not volunteering, but like stuff like that. And people love when it shows your personality and your passions. People love that like they can figure out, see who you are as a person behind the grades, right? People love like, because like oftentimes for me, right? I didn't go to interview at my school or anything like that, but because I had so many things and like my recommendation letter was like really nice, because like I was close to my teachers and all this other stuff, people were able to see who I was. It's very important. It's more important than anything. Taking initiative. Taking initiative is probably the biggest thing. Going out and doing stuff outside your comfort zone or putting yourself in places that you never normally would be will allow you to go farther ahead. And that's just like a honest truth, I believe. That's all I have for today. If you have any more questions, you can email me at this time. If you want to for a consultation, marvinjacobs.assemblybookme.it is where to go. Skype is the Belarus.esu call already, and I believe that's it for today. Thank you.